All right, guys, we are back. I was trying to figure out what happened. I'm not sure, so I'm so sorry about that. This will be part two if you were watching that earlier one. And it's so funny, I would do these from Massetti and all these strange locations where we weren't supposed to have good internet access, and it was fine. And here we are. So we may have to, but I'll tell you one of the reasons I think the internet is not so good here is because I've got some massive scalar energy that's probably like just interrupting the signal. So I may have to actually turn all that stuff off. But that's the point of the high frequency, right? Is to actually be in that state and broadcast it. So we'll figure it out, but thank you for staying with me, folks. All right, so I wanted to jump to, we talked a lot about like, to be wary about getting into that root energy with anything when there is a fact that is presented in today's age. The ascension is going to be about moving beyond that. Now, I'm not saying to ignore situations that are egregious or that are harmful or that call out people for things that are not, who we really are, race, gender, religion, all that stuff we are way beyond that. We are all one. Those are all third dimensional differentiations that do not matter anymore in our world. We are moving beyond that. But we don't want to get sucked down into that if somebody's like, hey, you know what, we're going to lower the frequency by bringing that in. So I want to jump to a few of the stories that I thought were really interesting, and I've got my computer here, I'm going to be reading. I want to jump to one that was pretty wild, and I didn't know about this actually at all until listening to Michael Tellinger, who's a researcher, he's a scientist, he's a guy that's basically been exploring some incredible things in Australia and other locations, and actually he's been finding like these giant fossilized things that look like they belong to giants. There's a video of Michael literally by a giant footprint about this big that was basically pressed into granite. And I don't know if that was a foot and the person, the being passed away, but literally there's a footprint this big. So look up Michael Tellinger. He talked about this with James Gilland, and James actually brought it up, and I thought, what in the world? And then I went to Collective Evolution, great site run by Joe Martino, and there is the article. So there is corroborating testimony, and this happened like a good bit back, I think sometime around last year actually. So this is something I missed. There is corroborating, and this is from Collective Evolution, there's corroborating testimony that a patrol of US soldiers shot and killed a 12 to 15 foot tall giant in Afghanistan, widely known as the Kandahar giant. What would this mean for human history? What would this mean for our awakening and our old template of what we think history is, if this was actually true? So it looks like it happened back in 2002. A US patrol had gone missing in a very remote area of Afghanistan. Another patrol was dispatched on the search and rescue, and one soldier on that patrol described what he saw after coming on the other side of the mountain. He said, quote, as we bent around this corner, you could see the opening of a cave, and then I see lots of rocks, and then there's another oddity, which is another oddity, and then bone matter. I'm not close enough to identify what kind of bones, but I did appear to see what looked to be a piece of our communications equipment. So instantly we're thinking ambush, maybe animal, could be anything. There was enough room in front of the cave, but it had a sheer drop off. So then not long after they got to there, they saw something emerge from the cave. Now check this out, that despite their preparedness, caught them totally off guard. Now these are patrols in Afghanistan. These are tough guys. I mean, these are guys putting their life on the line. God bless them. Here's what he said. It was a man at least 12 to 15 feet high. This is a monster, period. Red beard with hair that was longest past his shoulders, that was a scarlet red. And Dan runs at him and starts shooting, which broke all of us into the reality because it was surreal. It broke us all into the reality of the situation because it was so surreal. While Dan was moving at him, another bro of mine is laying down fire. I start firing. He skewers Dan. Oh wow, now he's got him on his pike. So like skewers him like a kebab. I mean, that is just freaky. It went through him. He's got him. He's coming after more. We all just clicked in. I don't know what it was, but I remember we were all like, shoot him in the face, shoot him. He's still moving. Eventually, the giant was killed. Dan had been killed. I mean, I'm kind of sad that the thing got killed. To me, I mean, that's just my conscience. I'm like, why do we always have to kill everything? Like, if it's different, like human nature. And I know these are soldiers in a very difficult situation, but like, oh, let's kill it. It's like, why don't we just slow down? Maybe it could talk. Maybe it could communicate. Maybe it had some information. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, this article goes on. There are recorded interviews. There are people that were there who shared it. This was a pilot. Now, this is weird, okay? There was a pilot in the base in Afghanistan who was told that they had to pick up special cargo and there were absolutely no cameras allowed. The pilot described the cargo. It was basically a dead guy. This guy was extremely large. When I say large, remember, if I remember correctly, about 9 to 12 feet or so. This guy was laying in a fetal position on the pallet, and he filled the pallet. It was around an 1,100-pound guy. 1,100 pounds. I mean, like, oh my gosh. So there's also been widespread corroboration. And here's the thing. There was a discussion, actually, that Collective Evolution cited between Corey Good and David Wilcock, where they said that these giants have been found in stasis, which means they are in suspended animation until such time that they are supposed to return. More than one person within the UFO community has bore witness to these red-haired giants being found in stasis chambers in full battle regalia and other adornments in preparation to resume their role on Earth at the appointed time. I mean, I don't know. Pretty interesting stuff. Now, one of the things that we've heard a lot about, if you are in these communities, is the Anunnaki and some of the other truths about that they are, you know, quite the possibility that humanity was actually seeded through the Anunnaki, which was this giant race of alien beings, and then our DNA was mixed in with the Denisovian man, and that became the human. And this is why we see a lot of the bearded gods. We see a lot of the you know, stories about that. We see a lot of the ancient mythology about that. So very interesting stuff. Now I want to jump to another article, very interesting, that just broke from Zero Hedge. So this is breaking actually today, which is July 31st. Secret McCabe texts. And this is Andy McCabe, who is the former FBI director, deputy director, excuse me, broke with MI5 counterparts. So you have the intelligence agency in Great Britain spotlighting the UK's early role in Russiagate. So newly surfaced messages between FBI Deputy Director Andy McCabe and his counterpart at MI5, the UK's domestic security service, have cast new light on Britain's role in the FBI's 2016 Russiagate investigation. The two most senior intelligence officials, the UK and US, privately shared concerns about our strange situation as the FBI launched the 2016 investigation. And the deputy was Jeremy Fleming, his then counterpart. In the next message, in and around August 2016, Fleming appeared to be making a reference to Peter Strozik, who traveled to London that month to meet with the Australian diplomat Alexander Downer. Downer appeared to speak with the FBI about a Trump campaign advisor, George Papadopoulos, who told him that Russia had dirt on Hillary Clinton, etc. The UK has begged Trump not to declassify some of this information. Now, here's the thing. You know, with a lot of this, again, I think it all should be declassified. We should see what was going on, who was involved, and let the truth come out. I'm not to say, you know, oh, okay, this is all, you know, nefarious, but I certainly don't think that we're in a place in humanity where we're going to solve the problems of our time by declassifying and having compartmentalization of information. I mean, all this stuff needs to go out. I mean, there's just, it's time. So, you know, was the UK involved in this? What did they know? What did they know about? Did they actually do a review of what was going on? Who knows? So very important. All right, I want to talk about something kind of troubling to me, kind of breaks my heart a little bit, but I also want to reference it in light of the fact that it's not necessarily related to this person, but to something that was established by that person. And until we get more information, we just don't know. But again, this is one of those truth bomb situations where so much is coming out, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, like why is my world upside down? And this one relates to Mother Teresa's order. Maybe you've heard about this, but literally we are in such a wild time where reality is being turned upside down. Mother Teresa's order, now not Mother Teresa, she's passed on. There's no evidence that she's involved in this, so I just want to, like, until more comes through, I mean, none of that. But her order apparently has been caught trafficking babies in India, okay? A child care facility. Now, this is a facility run by the Missionaries of Charity, which is Mother Teresa's organization, is part of the Roman Catholic order, and it was founded by Mother Teresa, has been caught trafficking babies for profit. Wow. Now, I want to make a few points again. Not Mother Teresa, she's passed on. We don't have any other information about that. But her order. And, you know, a lot of times, the other thing I want to say is, you know, if I go out and I decide I'm going to start an institution, right? And it's going to be the Darius Barazandeh Foundation, right? And then I pass on. And we hire, you know, the overseers of that foundation. They hire a board and different people come on. You know, it can be that bad people come in or nefarious people come in or people get corrupted. That doesn't mean that the original founder was bad, although it tarnishes their name. And so I see a lot of people saying, oh, Mother Teresa was, you know, I don't know. But it is very troubling, and I think the thing that we have to really look on is the fact that human trafficking is becoming one of those things that before Trump came into office, it was not talked about very much. I don't remember hearing about it. Now we are hearing stories every single day. So what does that mean for humanity? What does it mean when we say, just sort of as our guttural reaction, oh, the orange guy, he's bad, you know, he's a horrible guy. We've had more human trafficking arrests than any other president in the last 10, 15 years, maybe of all time. It is off the charts. So what's happening, okay? And if you want to say, well, it's not Trump, it's people in the administration trying to do good. Hey, maybe it's consciousness. Maybe we are awakening to consciousness and the divine right, sovereignty, the actual karma is kicking in, right? So we talk about this idea of universal soul sovereignty and karma, that you cannot violate the rights of another being and operate in a higher dimensional space for very long. Earth is ascending, right? So beings that are going to take children, take these beautiful, innocent incarnates and harm them, they are not going to be able to do this for very long. Now, whether this has to do with Trump, I think it does. I think the administration has taken a hard line because they know that this is part of something that has been going on behind the scenes in government for a very long time. And Trump, being an outsider, I've heard from a lot of people, was absolutely mortified by what he saw, absolutely heartbroken, devastated, like crushed, and said, I never thought it was this bad. And I've heard this from a lot of people. But here's the thing. This is something that it's very good if it comes out so we can actually no longer allow this. Now, there are a lot of people who have been deemed in the public eye as celebrities, elites, philanthropists, you know, what I might say, like these purveyors of goodwill and virtue, and yet they're now starting to sort of find that some of these connections to other people who are not great are starting to come forward. So you may see this as like royal family celebrities like Prince Andrew, who spent a lot of time with Epstein. Other people, not good, not good. So it is waking us up. And like one of the things I've seen with, you know, what's happening if you listen to like Tiffany Fitzhenry and others like Hollywood and a lot of these virtue signaling folks that we call the elite in society, they're starting, not necessarily with trafficking, I'm not linking that per se, but I'm saying we're starting to see where some of their connections are not the cleanest, like most wonderful, like there's some nefarious stuff going on where we say, hey, you know, I'm not gonna follow that person as like my shining light of virtue. And that's all we can ask for in humanity, is we can actually take people off the pedestal. We can look at everybody from the light of their soul. And this is the way the Palladians actually look at people. They look at people from how much light they're emanating from their soul. They look at people from how much frequency they're emanating from their heart. So it doesn't, oh, he was in the movie, oh, this person has this car. Like all of that stuff is third dimensional grid stuff. So anyway, this is a very developing story. There's a lot more there. Go check out Collective Evolution on that. Very interesting stuff. All right, I've got to ask a really interesting question too here, because how many of you have been awakened by doing searches on YouTube and finding out more? One of the things that awakened me a huge bit was early on searching what was the Federal Reserve on YouTube. I opened the first video before the crash about that, because that was what woke me up. And as I started looking into the Federal Reserve, I found the movie Thrive with Foster Gamble, who I've interviewed before, and all of these amazing bits of information. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is a very, very like truth-telling reality that we're in. And now a new whistleblower allegation just broke today that YouTube has manipulated the Federal Reserve search results in response to the MSNBC host's complaint. So Google owns YouTube, and YouTube manually adjusted the search results for Federal Reserve after MSNBC host Chris Hayes complained about the prominence of anti-Fed videos at the top of the search results, according to a source that worked for the tech company. So here's the thing. Wow. A guy that's an MSNBC anchor is complaining about the truth about the Federal Reserve, and so he gets Google to switch up the algorithm so our truth articles about the Federal Reserve no longer come forward. Now here's his tweet. Chris Hayes, I don't watch him. My favorite example of how informationally toxic YouTube's algorithm is. Now let me break that down. He's saying that the informationally toxic algorithm, well, here's the thing. I don't care if you're saying it's toxic or not. Is it true? Is it true? The Federal Reserve is not owned by the U.S. government. It's not a part of the U.S. government. It's a privately owned banking interest. It's a group. So it's not informationally toxic if it's true. Let's stop labeling things as, oh, this is toxic, oh, this is triggering. It's freaking true. So the first step in any algorithm should be, really, what is true? Not fake news, not let's call it fake news. Let's use that so that we can shield the truth. Is it true? And that's what I'd like to see. And he says, imagine if you're a high school freshman and got a school assignment about the Federal Reserve, and now you've got all these things about how the Federal Reserve is not owned by, the U.S. government, blah, blah, blah. I mean, come on. If I was a high school freshman and I got woke about the Federal Reserve back then, and I'd been spending like the next 25 years to actually shift consciousness, oh my gosh, I might have done a completely different path in my life. And actually it would be amazing, because then we would move out of this control grid. So not cool, and also not cool that one person's tweet who is an elite actually causes Google to change the algorithm. I mean, come on. Ridiculous. All right, so I want to mention another thing here, and yeah, we are getting into some conspiracy theories, but I've got a feeling that eventually most of the things that we call conspiracies, at least not most, but a lot of them, we're going to find that there's a lot of truth in some of this stuff, that there's a lot that the public has been misled on. And this is one of them, definitely controversial, but it's not me reporting it. I'm just reporting the news. New York Fire Commissioner, this broke today, yesterday, which was July 30th, calls for a new 9/11 investigation about pre-planted explosives. Now, this is not some person who has a YouTube channel, not saying that that's a bad thing, but this is a fire commissioner. I mean, these are people that lost lives. These are organizations that lost lives at the Twin Towers, and they want to know about these pre-planned explosives. I mean, this is huge. This is also not a politician. This is not a person who has a vested interest in pushing an agenda. This is a person who lost people on that team, in that organization because of it. So the Franklin Square and Munson Fire District just became the first legislative body in the county to officially support a new investigation. Woohoo! And here's what you need to reflect on. Why is this happening? I do believe Whatever has information that needs to be revealed is going to start coming forward. And here's what Collective Evolution said. Great article with several thousand activists, victim families, physicists, engineers, firefighters, all calling for a new investigation. It's time. It's time, right? So nearly 18 years after the tragedies, it's serving as a massive wake-up call for humanity. And we are more and more realizing that we need to look into what really happened and what is going on. All right, so basically they're going to be opening up this investigation. There are Munson Fire District commissioners that are going to be doing it: Philip Mallory Jr., Dennis Lyons, Joseph Teresa, Christopher Gioia, and Les Saltzman. And I applaud them for doing this and having the bravery, because there will be a lot of people coming out against them saying, oh no, this is the official story, we've got to stick to it, you know, this is bad, and all this kind of stuff. You know, these are people that put their lives on the line, they're dedicated, you know, they deserve the truth. And if it doesn't fit in with your agenda or your view of history, you know what? This is not the time where we can stay in this matrix and survive. People talk about, oh, well, you know, global warming is going to kill the earth. You know what? It's going to kill the earth. You know what's going to really like end humanity is not being awake enough to ask questions. That's going to actually destroy humanity. So the department also lost one of their own on 9/11, Thomas J. Hetzel. He was a full-time member of the New York Fire Department, was also a volunteer fire department firefighter in Franklin Square. His widow and sister were in attendance, so they were all very appreciative. God bless them all. Now, here's what's interesting. The reason why this is happening is because the department and what seems to be an overwhelming majority of firefighters, again, not YouTube conspiracy theorists, not people with a political agenda. This is my mug. What is this? It's a vine. Oh, it's a grapevine. Anyway, my wife's mom had this mug. I think they bought it back in '96. It's my favorite mug. But anyway, so the reason this is happening is because department and what seems to be an overwhelming number of firefighters believe that pre-planted explosives and also incendiaries, not just airplanes, and ensuing fires caused the destruction of the 3 World Trade Center buildings. So not just airplanes, but something else that was pre-planted. Now, great question presented in the article. Always applaud Collective Evolution. How come this sort of thing continues to go completely ignored by the mainstream media, and we can focus on the fact that whoever the guy was, the representative from Baltimore, who has basically run the city into the proverbial shithole, you know, that's racist to bring that up. But we can just sort of let this go, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to anchor everybody into their root energy and make them all fear-based and angry, so you close off to anything else going on up here. Guys, the doorway to ascension is in actually not being triggered to go into those root energies and seeing it from a higher dimensional perspective. We are going to get there, because eventually what's going to happen is more and more and more truth is going to start coming out. More people are going to question, and we are going to wake up to all of that. All right, so that's about all the news I had today. I'll do a quick search to see if there's anything else breaking as we're doing this video. And also, if you've got a question, I'm not sure why. Let me see if I'm not seeing the chat here. Live chat. Let me see all the messages. All right, let's see if we've got any messages or questions. Let me know. I would love to be able to try to read your questions if I could see them. Also, guys, I want to share a few things too. I'm going to be interviewing, it looks like on the 1st or 2nd week of August, the Edge of Wonder guys, Ben and Rob. And so we're going to be doing a pre-recorded interview, and then we are going to premiere it to the UWealth community and also to my YouTube channel. So if you've got any questions that you want to ask, you know, me to ask Ben and Rob, and I'll probably do another video on this, just kind of getting people ready. They have the Edge of Wonder YouTube channel, amazing place to really get some great information. We're going to be talking about their awakening journey, what they've experienced, what are some of the things they've discovered, kind of like how does what they're sharing sort of fit into this reality spectrum, and how do you kind of bring it into I guess that whole conscious space, right? Because there's a lot of stuff they cover that seems like it, it's directed towards the QAnon movement and all of that. Like, what does that fit in if you just absolutely have all this, negative ideas about, what's going on in the planet or what's going on with Trump, and you're just like in this triggered state? Like, how does all this fit in? All right, who do we have? Will that be later today? No, it's actually not going to air. I'll tell y'all. Thank you for the interest. I'm really excited about it. And it's not going to be today. It's going to be actually recorded on Monday, August 12th. But we're going to premiere it, I think, the week of August 19th. So August 19th, it'll be premiered. So put your questions down below for them. They've been so great, and we've had some wild serendipities with them. The container bar, that story, I probably got to do another video on that, but it's almost like super creepy. But it's pretty wild. I'll talk about that later, but I got a chance to just hang out with them for a few hours in Austin. They had a layover, and the weird story is we went to a place where something kind of weird happened the next week. So just weird serendipities, like timelines and all kind of stuff. But it's been really great. That's going to be happening, and I'll be doing more of these. So send in your questions. Thanks everybody for watching. Looks like we made it through the live stream, and I just want to wish everybody just a blessed day. And you know what? I have this feeling like I want to do a clearing. I used to do these on some of my streams, and I'm going to do a clearing. I've got a tensor ring here, a series of tensor rings from Brian Besco, who's a great guest at UL Revolution. And so what I'm going to do, I do dowsing and do a lot of different energetic modalities. Who do we have there? Thank you so much, Heather. Sorry, my phone's so far away. I got like really like, thanks, Heather, for the love. We're going to do a dowsing clearing towards the end here. So the only thing I ask in the dowsing is that your truth come through, and that like higher dimensional truth come through for humanity, right? Like that's it. All right, I tuned in for the first few minutes ago from Valencia. Thank you. I don't know why those chats just go away and then I can't read the whole thing. So I'm trying to read the whole thing, but it's not possible. So we're gonna just send some high frequency energy. One of the things I love to do is just do dowsing clearing. I want to hold the space that the doorway stay open to everybody that hears this call. So your higher dimensional truth comes in. It's not like left-wing news or right-wing news or what I believe, but what you believe can come in. So what I'll do here is I just ask permission. Can we begin to hold the field open and clear any blockages, lower dimensional energies, demonic energies, impediments from truth coming forward? Can we begin using the higher energies? And do we have a divine consortium of beings that want to help clear that energy? Yes. So we're getting a yes. We're going in this direction. So that's telling me yes. Now, if it goes like this, it's telling me no. And can we begin clearing those information and truth portals to come in wherever they are in the world for the audience today? We're getting a yes. All right, so we're just going to keep going. Now, as this goes, we're just going to allow it to move forward. Thank you so much. Looks like Eric, I think. Very hard to read from this far away, but we're just letting it run. It's kind of going by itself. I always like to show people my hand. There's a little bit of subconscious movement in my fingers and stuff, but it's not like I'm trying. It just moves. Pendulum work is done in hypnosis. It's done dowsing. It's done in energy clearing. It's very ancient, and it's connecting in. If the person is connecting into higher dimensional energy, it's very pure. Just like any tool, it could be used good and bad. We only use it for good here at the UL Revolution grid. So just bringing in energy to clear the portal, and it's clearing. I also want to ask that we clear out any negative sites where there's human suffering, child trafficking, places where energies are harmful to those beautiful members of our society, those kids, clearing that. So we're just asking that. I learned this method of doing clearing for like darker sites on the planet from Raymond Grace. So if you want to look up his work, RAMOND GRACE, really amazing guy. So this is just clearing, and it's clearing a lot. So it's got a lot to do. So we're just going to stay on it and keep sending in your questions. If you've got something as well, like maybe your day's just going crappy, you're like, it didn't go well today, I'm feeling off, just send it in. You can send it in right, like into my hand. I'm not taking it on. I'm shielded up, so I'm not worried about it. But we're just letting these higher beings clear it up. And we've definitely got some Palladian energy coming in now. So I'm just kind of feeling into that. We've got Arcturian coming in, and they're clearing. So we're just clearing the space. This thing is not stopping. So just keep sending it in. And again, you know, the whole push here is just, let's bring in more light, more truth, more love. It's just working. All right, so I'm feeling like it's almost getting done. Yep, they always signal me. Okay, there we are. Thank you. Okay, all right, we had a beautiful comment. It looks like it's done. All right, that's it. So that was our clearing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the clearing. Yes, thank you. Thank you for the 3 hearts. All right, so I hope everybody enjoyed it. We'll be doing more. Much love, everyone. We'll see y'all on the next. Stop that. We'll see y'all on the next coffee talk, which we'll be doing probably tomorrow. And thanks everybody for watching. Much love, and thanks for being here and plugging in. And if you like this, hit like and subscribe. We've also got a free energy gift that will double the power of your energy field in 57 seconds as well. All right, thank you so much. Thank you. It looks like it's, let me try to read that. It looks like it's Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. Much love, everyone. We'll see you on the next live stream.